sandwiches, ice cream, coffee and snacks, and many other pleasing treats. Our foods are fresh and tasty, our drinks satisfying and refreshing. They're so good.
Welcome to Average Joe's Drive-In.
And now, on with the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 103. Now you're probably asking yourself, isn't this episode 102? Well, actually it's not, because episode 102, which was supposed to air today, is now kind of officially a lost episode. Unfortunately, I had some weird computer mic problems, and my audio basically is unusable. So Eric's Eric Marner from the Movie Freaks podcast was my guest, and unfortunately, his audio came out perfect. And mine, because I was recording it on a different computer than I normally use, I don't know what was going on, but it came out absolutely horrible. And it's not listenable, so I didn't want to just throw it up in the state that it was in. So you guys are getting an extra review cast, and there will be a review cast next week, and then I should be back on my normal, kind of a normal track from there on out. So this episode, seeing it's kind of a last minute thing, and I didn't want to just, do whatever. I decided I've got a bunch of VHS that I've had in the pile of reviews here for a while. I figured, what the hell, let's just do a all straight up Be Kind Rewind VHS sort of review cast. So we're going to start it off with 1988, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Mommy's going to the beauty parlor, darling. But I'm leaving you with your favorite friend, Roger. He's going to take very, very good care of you. Because if he doesn't, he's going back to the science lab.
Cut! What the hell is wrong with that take?
Nothing with you, baby Herman. You were great. You were perfect. You were better than perfect. Just Roger. He keeps blowing his lines. Roger, what's this? A tweeting bird? Eating bird? Roger, read the script. Look what it says. It says rabbit gets clunked. Rabbit sees stars. Not birds. Stars! Can we lose the playback, please? You're killing me.
For crying out loud, Roger! How many times do we have to do this damn scene? Raoul! I'll be in my trailer! Taking a nap!
Excuse me,
Please, Raoul, I can give you stars. Just drop the refrigerator in my head one more time.
Roger, I got on your head 23 times already.
I can take it. Don't worry about me.
I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about the refrigerator.
This is the tale of an up-and-coming movie star named Roger Rabbit and a down-and-out private detective named Eddie Valiant.
Ooga booga!
Every moment they were together was a new adventure in trouble.
Hide me, Eddie. Please.
It's a motion picture about friendship.
Come on, get easy. Please, Eddie. Don't tell me out. You're making a big mistake.
Love. Compassion.
Well, I'm sorry I yanked your ears.
All the time you yanked my ears?
Murder.
Marvin Acme. The rabbit cacked him last night.
Remember, you never saw me.
Sex.
I'd do anything for my husband, Mr. Valiant. Anything.
And violence.
Tunes gets him every time.
You wouldn't have any idea where the rabbit might be?
Got a thing for rabbits, huh? The whole thing stinks like yesterday's diapers.
It's a comedy a little different from all the rest.
I'm a pig!
I'm a tune.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket or are you just happy to see me?
Touchstone Pictures and Steven Spielberg present a Robert Zemeckis film.
We tunes may act idiotic, but we're not stupid.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
This is an animated adventure comedy directed by Robert Zemeckis, has a 104-minute runtime, rated PG. Stars Bob Hoskins, Christopher Lloyd, and Joanna Cassidy. Down on his luck, Private Eye Eddie Valiant gets hired by cartoon producer R.K. Maroon to investigate an adultery scandal involving Jessica Rabbit, the sultry wife of Maroon's biggest star, Roger Rabbit. But when Marvin Acme, Jessica's alleged paramour and the owner of Toontown, is found murdered, the villainous Judge Doom vows to catch and destroy Roger. This was the first movie I ever saw twice in the theater. I remember being blown away and enamored with it. I can't even recall the number of times I watched this when it came out on video. At one point, I could probably have recited most of the dialogue word for word. Like so many movies from my youth, I burned myself out on them. While I still love them, I just can't throw them on anymore on a whim. The circumstance has to be just right, and I need to be in the right mood. It becomes a special occasion when that happens. I snagged a copy on VHS about a year ago, but I hadn't watched it yet. I was browsing my collection, it caught my eye, and I was ready. This movie still makes me smile like a little kid. It's such a fun film, silly, absurd, and well put together. I remember being blown away by the effects. Seeing live-action characters and cartoons together, for me, was mind-boggling. While it's a bit more commonplace these days, back then I had never seen anything like it. I still love the performances, the music, story, and feel of the whole film. There's a timeless quality about it that not a lot of movies have. A film everyone in the family could enjoy for different reasons. Who Framed Roger Rabbit will always have a special place in my heart, no matter how long I go without viewing it. It always feels like I'm going home when I do. There aren't many films I can say that about, and the ones I can, well, they are vastly different films. Each one a timestamp of my childhood or another moment in my life, and the memories that are attached to those moments brought back each time I view that particular film. My rating for this is a 9 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 7.7 out of 10. Up next, 2002's The Scorpion King.
In 1 week's time, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
A tyrant who enslaved a nation.
He will destroy us one by one.
Tomorrow my victory is complete.
A warrior who would become their only hope.
I know the prophecy. I have seen it.
They are the last of their kind. Skilled assassins, trained for generations in the deadly arts.
Will you stand alone before the fury of his armies?
Yes.
Take a breath. Take a dozen of your best men, track him down, kill him.
The Scorpion King.
This is an action-adventure fantasy directed by Chuck Russell, has a 92-minute runtime, rated PG-13, stars Dwayne Johnson, Stephen Brand, and Michael Clark Duncan. Inspired by the legendary Egyptian warrior the Scorpion King, is set 5,000 years ago in the notorious city of Gomorrah, where an evil ruler is determined to lay waste to all the nomadic people of the desert. The few remaining tribes, never neutral allies, have to unite or perish. Knowing their enemy relies on the visions of a sorcerer, they hire a skilled assassin, Matthias, to eliminate the visionary. I've been meaning to watch the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies again for a while. but haven't gotten around to it. It's been years since I saw them. I think it has been equally as long since I saw The Scorpion King. For some reason, I decided to go with this one first. The Mummy movies are still on the plate, but I wanted to get this one out of the way. This movie is still enjoyable for what it is. In all honesty, it has not aged well. Granted, it has never been a great movie, but I remember it being a little more grand and epic. For the most part, the effects aren't bad, but here and there you can see the obvious green screen on some of the CGI. It's strange because the CGI shots that look bad aren't anything of importance. They are in weird spots where it looks like they were thrown in as more of an afterthought. There are several fun fight scenes. There are also some good moments scattered throughout. This was The Rock's first feature. You could tell he was still developing his chops. Still, there was a charm in the way he played the character, a charismatic trait he's so known for now. I'm glad I revisited it. While it hasn't held up as well as I'd hoped, it's still watchable and enjoyable enough. I'm curious what fans of The Rock who have never seen this would think. If you haven't seen it before, watch the first two Mummy movies with Brendan Fraser, then give this a watch. While not the same films, they do have the connection, and I think it'll put you in the mood, in the right mindset going into this one. My rating is a 5 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 5.5 out of 10. Up next, 1987's Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol.
Those talented graduates are back in Police Academy.
I want to welcome all of you to
Citizens on Patrol.
Citizens on Patrol.
The Police Academy has offered to train you citizens.
You just don't think I'm fast enough anymore, do you?
To better protect yourselves.
Do we get to pack heat?
Attention all cars, attention all cars.
Mahoney.
Gee, I love saying that.
Jones. Hightower. Sweet Chuck. Zed. And Tackleberry.
Please!
Good idea.
From now on, by land.
You have the right to remain silent.
Who's gonna save me?
By sea. Or by air. There's no escaping justice.
Gentlemen, may I see your license and registration, please?
I can blast them out of the sky, sir. Not yet. I should give them a warning shot first.
Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol.
Now be careful, because a .44 Magnum has quite a kick.
See it in your neighborhood while you still have one.
This is a comedy crime directed by Jim Drake, has an 88-minute runtime, rated PG, stars Steve Guttenberg, Bubba Smith, and Michael Winslow. Feeling that his squad is not up to snuff, a police commander comes up with an unorthodox plan to hire everyday citizens to work alongside police officers. Unruly Sergeant Kerry Mahoney is given the job of training the citizens. At first, Mahoney does not take the job seriously, but when he learns that his nemesis, Captain Harris, is gunning for his commandeer's job, Mahoney focuses on making the plan work and bringing down Harris at the same time. I remembered very little about this one other than one scene. As I had recently watched part 3, I wanted to throw this one on and see how it held up and compared to that one. I will be honest, there's very little difference between most of the Police Academy sequels rating-wise. They were pumping these out left and right back in the 80s. Everything's pretty cute and cut and dry story and plot-wise. These are the type of movies you go into knowing what you're going to get. Part 4 is no different. The film's shot well, the music is standard issue, the acting ranges from good to bad, and the comedy is very much a product of its time. I laughed where I was supposed to, and often just kind of groaned. I think overall, compared to the first 3 films, this one was a little more miss than hit. It has a couple of really good moments, and that was about it. If you like the rest of the movies in the series, it's worth a watch. My rating is a 4 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 4.9 out of 10. In this one, I was super excited when I came across it, because I had been trying to track this one down for a while, and it was like, I wasn't sure it was what I wanted to drop a ton of money on, but if it would have gotten a really cool special edition Blu-ray, maybe, but all I could find was really expensive DVD copies. And that is 1986's One Crazy Summer.
The movie started! The movie's starting! Not really, I just want them to come running in from the lobby thinking that they missed something. Hi, I'm Ed Stewart, movie star, also known as Bobcat Goldthwait, and me and my friends John Cusack and Demi Moore.
I hate boats. I'm not getting on any boat.
I beg to differ. Just had one crazy summer.
Your dad said you were collecting shells. Shells? 57 millimeter.
We did all the normal things people do. Hey, little boy, will you hold on to this for me? Made friends. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Saw the sights.
Please, your enormous is anything but chilly.
Killed our own food. Dazzled women.
Are you ready for me, Hoops?
We were party animals. Help me. Everyone loved us.
My car.
And we loved every minute. By the end of the summer, I felt that grown a lot personally. I felt a little bit better about who I was and where I was going. Okay, let's move it out. Here we go. Wait. It really was one crazy summer.
This is a romantic comedy directed by Savage Steve Holland. Has a 93-minute runtime, rated PG. Stars Joan Cusack, Demi Moore, and Linda Warren. That's John Cusack, not Joan. Be a completely different movie if Joan was in it instead of John. After graduating from high school, art school hopefuls Hoops McCain struggles to complete his application to the Rhode Island School of Design. Resigning himself to a summer of boredom, McCain agrees to go along with his best friend George Calamari on a family trip to Nantucket, Mass. But after McCain and Calamari meet rocker in distress Cassandra, it suddenly looks like it's going to be one crazy summer. I haven't seen this one in a long time. This is one of those movies I watched countless times on HBO growing up. And needless to say, when I came across it on VHS, I had to snag it. As I said, I had been trying to find it for quite a while. It's weird how some films from our youth change in tone and don't have quite the same impact on us when we're older. Often it's a huge bummer when you throw something on you haven't seen in years and it doesn't live up to the memories you have of it. I'm happy to say One Crazy Summer isn't one of those films. I enjoyed this one just as much as I did growing up. I laughed often, and despite the obvious cheesy 80s feel of the film, I couldn't help but get sucked into it. This is full of standard 80s teen movie tropes. It's the David versus Goliath scenario that was so prevalent in many comedies from that era. Montage sequence? Check. Rich asshole type antagonist? Check. Goofball buddies? Check. Final showdown? Event? To make things right? Check. Even with that, this one still scores points to me. It has a little bit of its own weird charm that many of those films didn't have. Quirkiness, if you will. I think that's one of the things that sets this film apart and made it so memorable for kids of my generation. Glad I finally have this one in my collection. It's one I'm sure to throw on here and there when I need a good dose of 80s comedy. If you've never seen this one in like 80s teen comedy type films, this is one you want to check out, because I feel it's a little bit of a kind of forgotten gem type thing. My rating is a 6.5 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 6.4 out of 10. Up next, from 1994, Double Dragon.
– 2007. Los Angeles. The city has changed. Cops rule the day.
punks rule the night. And one man wants to rule them all. There's only one thing he needs to succeed.
This is only half of it. Find me the other half now.
And look who's got it.
It magnifies the power inside you. This half gives power over the body.
All right, so where's the on button?
Now, two brothers will stop at nothing to protect their half.
Look out!
And a madman will stop at nothing to possess it.
You're gonna love this.
Let's have some fun.
Who wants gum?
If they succeed, they're heroes. But if he does, they're history.
Watch your step. Time to skin you guys.
T2's Robert Patrick, Scott Wolf, Mark Dacascos, and Alyssa Milano. Double Dragon.
You said it. We don't really have to wear these, do we?
This is an action-adventure comedy directed by James Yukich. Has a 96-minute runtime, rated PG-13. Stars Robert Patrick, Mark Dacascos, and Scott Wolf. Two brothers have half of a powerful ancient Chinese talisman. An evil gang leader has the other half and determines to get the brother's half and have a complete medallion so he can gain absolute power. I vaguely remember liking this, but also remember it not being that good back in the day when it first came out. I was also a fan of the video game, and I'll be upfront, I haven't seen this in at least 20 years, maybe more. So I was curious what I was walking into. Ouch. That's all I can say about this one. It's quite bad. Not in an enjoyable bad sort of way either. It's painful to watch. There's really nothing about this that has any sort of redeeming qualities. The acting, for the most part, is downright awful. The effects are mediocre, and the story is really, really bad. For a game that was heavy on fighting and martial arts, this was so poorly coordinated, it was almost comical. The only thing good about this is that it would be ripe for the Mystery Science Theater 3000 treatment. I will be the first to admit that I like some suspect movies. It takes a lot for me to flat out not find at least something redeemable about a film. This is one of those cases. I can only recommend this to people who are fans of the game and might want to check it out based on morbid curiosity. Outside of that, don't bother wasting your time. My rating is a 2 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 3.7 out of 10. So, I want to close out the review cast with a trilogy of films. And it was only right that I watched these on VHS because I can't even count the number of times I watched these on VHS. And that is the Austin Powers trilogy. Up first, 1999's The Spy Who Shagged Me. Actually, I lied. It's not The Spy Who Shagged Me. It's 1997's Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
In 1967, an international secret agent was cryogenically frozen in case the world ever required his services again. Now, evil is threatening the Earth, and the time has come to bring him back into the 90s.
It's not unusual.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Danger Powers personal effects.
Actually, my name is Austin Powers. Danger's my middle name.
I'm gonna need you to sign these release forms.
Okay, name. Sex? Yes, please.
In his time, he was the coolest secret agent alive. Unfortunately,
It's freedom, baby, yeah!
this is not his time. He's a swinger in a square world.
A lot's changed since 1967.
Bring on the sexy stews, man! Yeah!
We're called flight attendants now.
And he's a stranger in a strange land.
This is my mother, Mrs. Exposition.
Lovely.
Austin!
What have you done?
That's not your mother, it's a man, baby! Why won't this wig come off?
Well, now you shake it to the left, you shake it to the right. You do the hippie shake.
Ow! That really hurt. Who throws a shoe? Honestly.
Mike Myers.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Elizabeth Hurley.
Don't forget these.
Oh, thanks.
Austin Powers. International man of mystery.
Always wanting to have fun, Austin. That's you in a nutshell.
No, this is me in a nutshell. Help! I'm in a nutshell.
This is an adventure comedy directed by Jay Roach, 89-minute runtime, PG-13, starring Mike Myers, Elizabeth Hurley, and Michael York. A 1960s secret agent is brought out of cryo-freeze to oppose his greatest enemy in the 1990s, where his social attitudes are glaringly out of place. I haven't watched any of the Austin Powers movies in quite some time. So, after my run of horror in October, I was ready to watch other genres and revisit a few old favorites. I was very curious as to how this one would hold up. Honestly, I think this has always been my least favorite of the Austin Powers films. I've always found it enjoyable, and it does have plenty of quotable moments in it, but it always seemed a bit inconsistent to me. Viewing it now years later, that is still very much the case. It has brilliant moments, and then it has a lot of flat moments. It almost seems like they were just throwing darts to see what stuck and ended up keeping most of it in. One thing going back and viewing this now is that a lot of the jokes just fall flat. They are very much references to that particular time period the film was made. And while I still get a good chunk of them, someone new going in that's a bit younger might not. Overall, the movie's solid in all of the technical aspects. It's nothing mind-blowing, but it's solid and fits right in with most comedy films of that era. My rating is a 6 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 7 out of 10. Now, in proper order, is 1999's The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Do you swing?
Are you kidding, baby? I put the gar in swinger, baby, yeah!
Austin Powers
Crazy, baby, yeah!
is back.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
With the help of the beautiful Felicity Shagwell.
How does that feel, baby?
Lower.
How does that feel, baby?
In a thrilling adventure of intrigue, treachery, love. But Dr. Evil is back, and more evil than ever.
Gonna cry, huh? Yeah. I'm going to go back to the 60s and steal Austin Powers' mojo. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to travel through time. I bid you adieu.
A bombshell with a secret. Robin Swallows.
Swallows. That's an interesting name.
Maiden name Spitz.
Well, which is it, baby? Spits or swallows?
Dr. Evil, we began a program to clone you. He is exactly like you in every way. 1/8 your size.
I shall call him Mini-Me.
Mini-Me. Something small, something deadly. Mike Myers. Mike Myers. What are you, some kind of freak? You mother... This is... Heather Graham.
Move over, Rover. This chick is taking over.
And Mike Myers.
Surprise! Surprise!
In the biggest Austin Powers adventure yet. Austin Powers, the spy who shagged me.
Great plan, Einstein.
All right, zip it.
You can't... Zip. It's simple.
Subtitle. Zip it.
Found this. You know.
This is an action-adventure comedy, directed by Jay Roach, has a 95-minute runtime, rated PG-13, stars Mike Myers, Heather Graham, and Michael York. Dr. Evil is back and has invented a new time machine that allows him to go back to the 1960s and steal Austin Powers' mojo, inadvertently leaving him shagless. After watching the first Austin Powers film, I decided to throw on The Spy Who Shagged Me. This has always been my favorite of the series. Much like the first film, I was interested to see how this was going to hold up after not seeing it for many years. Again, this hasn't held up quite as well as I'd hoped. While it's still funny, I find it more on par with the first one than I remember. Much like International Man of Mystery, has a lot of ups and downs on the laughs. They also repeat several of the moments from the first film by rehashing jokes. It's one of those familiarity things, I get it, but I honestly didn't find some of those that funny the first time around. There is, however, still a few of those side-splitting moments. The golden moments are just still that. I think the acting is more solid in this one. Everything else is about on par. I will still give this a slight edge over part 1, but not by much. My rating is a 6.5 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 6.6 out of 10. We're going to end it with 2002's Austin Powers in Goldmember.
He defeated evil. He overcame huge obstacles. And he tracked trouble to its source.
Ooh, frisky are we?
This summer, isn't it time for a little Austin Powers? If you see one movie this summer, see Austin Powers. If you see two movies, see Austin Powers again.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
This is an action-adventure comedy directed by Jay Roach, 94-minute runtime PG-13, Mike Myers, Beyonce, and Seth Green. Upon learning that his father has been kidnapped, Austin Powers must travel to 1975 and defeat the aptly named villain Goldmember, who is working with Dr. Evil. The third installment of the Austin Powers trilogy is one I've always enjoyed. I thought it was a bit more hit and miss than the first two, but it had been quite a while since the last time I'd watched it. After recently watching the first two films, I wanted to give it another view. One thing about the Austin Powers films is they don't stray too far from the formula that made them successful. While this is a good thing in knowing what to expect, it also kept things from progressing beyond what they were. Not that it needed to change. There are plenty of good examples of series that never strayed far from the path and remained fun. Goldmember is no exception. Much like the first two films, it has its ups and downs. There are some great laugh-out-loud moments. As I remembered, it is a bit more hit or miss than the first two films. At times, I felt like it was a bit of a slog to get through. Technical aspects are fine. They're on par with the previous entries. There isn't anything that sticks out or throws the film off in those regards. Story-wise, they rehash some of the same jokes. While some are funny, some of those don't work so well. It feels like all that. With all that being said, I would welcome another entry into the series, especially now that there has been a bit of a gap since Goldmember was released. It would be interesting to see a new film and where the franchise might go. Who knows? Maybe it will happen at some point. If it does, I'll certainly be there to check it out. My rating is a 5.5 out of 10. The average IMDb rating is a 6.2 out of 10. And that's all there is to it, folks. Kind of down, dirty, and to the point this week because I'm rushing to get this done just so we can have an episode this week. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, next week will be a review cast and kind of back on track with the regular episodes and guests and stuff. And remember, thanks to my sponsors, the Maine Cannababes, www.maincannababes.com. All kinds of cool stuff there. And remember, kids, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. And I will see you sexy animals on the flip side.
It's intermission. Rise and stretch time. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for hot popcorn? Your favorite soft drinks are sparkling cold. The juicy Frank sizzling hot. There's delicious coffee, freshly brewed, and all kinds of ice cream and candy to tempt you. Showtime will be announced loud and clear to get you back to your car in time. So stretch your legs. Come to the snack bar now.
Thanks for listening to Average Joe's Drive-In. If you'd like to talk movies or contact the show, add our social media pages. You can add us on Facebook at Average Joe's Drive-In Podcast, on Twitter at TWJ Author, on Instagram at Thomas Washburn Jr. You can also hit up www.thomaswashburnjr.com for more information about the show and related links. If you'd like to support the show, you can buy TJ's books on Amazon. Just type in Thomas Washburn Jr. in the search. Books are available in Kindle and paperback formats. If you have Kindle Unlimited or Prime, you can read the books for free and money will be earned by the pages read. It doesn't cost you anything and it supports the show. Until next time, you've been listening to Average Joe's Drive-In.